I'm going to start this video with the assumption that you know that you're here for the instructions of these little passing notes, which are in the form of origami hearts. I'm going to begin unfolding this one for folks who already know how to fold this origami heart so that they will know where they're going to make sure that the artwork shows up on the front. If you don't know how to fold an origami heart and you've purchased this download JPEG and you've printed it out and you're going, what do I do now? I will explain how to fold an origami heart right after this. If you already know how to fold an origami heart, you might already be able to stop this video and know where you're going, which is that you don't need to fold the center line in that heart pattern. You just need to fold the perpendicular center line and then fold the first fold coming to that center and then forming the back pocket. That will get you the artwork in the front. For those of you who know what you're doing, I assume you're going to stop the video here and get to folding your beautiful passing note artworks. If you don't know how to fold an origami heart, we're going to keep going from here. I'm going to start with a fresh one. So when you download the JPEG, it'll be on a big piece of paper like this. Cut the outside edge. If you want to be very accurate, cut this outer line off. That means right along razor edge, that black line. If you're like me and you get coffee jitters before you do this sort of thing, you're not going to cut a straight line. That's okay. The origami heart is a very forgivable fold. And even if you end up with a little bit of white space on either side, the artwork still comes out just fine. And it's great for passing to somebody instead of a card or as just a beautiful note, or even to fold it for yourself and color the pieces in. So you get something like this and you're going to cut it out kind of like so. Once you have this, like I told the people who already know how to fold these, you don't need to worry about the center line. The center line is already printed there. The first line you're going to create is actually bringing these edges together to create a perpendicular line. You can use the barely visible black center line to help you line this up. And then it's just coming out to these corners. Again, remember that it's forgivable. So if you're not perfect, that's all right. But the more perfect that you are, the more shapely your heart. And crease. Once you've got this crease on and you feel pretty confident, then you're going to create another crease. This crease is going to come right up against the artwork here. So you'll almost, if you don't want to have a little white gap between, you'll want to see just barely some of these little lines coming onto your crease. You do that by, if you have any black, putting that black on the crease instead of inside the crease. And the reason for that is that if the black line is down, down too far, you'll miss too much of the artwork. If you're really worried about it, make sure everything is just below the crease, and that will give you the most amount of artwork on the crease, creating the least amount of blank space. You also don't want to short the artwork, so this is probably the most precise area you want to be. You can see that I still have some white here. If I wanted to, I could move this down just slightly, rolling it to get rid of some of that. So moving my crease down just a little bit. And that's one of the troubleshooting techniques that you can use to make sure that you've got just that little bit of the artwork on the crease. Now we're going to be making this into the back-sided point of our heart. And we do that by flipping it over and using again this printed line, which is exactly between the two parts of the artwork already measured out for you. I like to take a thumbnail, or if you use a point or tool of any kind, and place it right on the black line, and then grab the outer edge and bring it up to the line. We're doing that corner fold. The goal here is to put the artwork, the midline of the artwork, about halfway across that tiny black line that's there. That way the next artwork can come up and meet it, or the next half of the artwork can come up and meet it. You'll see that there's the little jaw of the peacock here and the neck. These are our markers for lining up the next piece. So I want to make sure that these 4 marks line up. And if I do that, even if there's some gapping, the black line will make up for it visually. A little bit of white still very much matches the original artwork, and the viewer looks across the piece as a whole artwork. So now we have our bottom point. We flip this over, and we're going to move a little bit faster now. This is the very, very forgiving part of the origami fold. You can see through the paper to the black line, and if you have trouble with that, just pinch the very top to give yourself a guide spot. And since it goes at an angle, you want to make sure that you're using that guide, just that little point at the top. And you can, the biggest piece here is just that either you're bringing the black line, you know, kind of over that crease or right into it. But what you want is the top edge of the paper to not point up above the other edge. So these two line up basically, and you've got a nice corner down here. Same on the other side. Now we're going to create another set of corners by taking these squares and folding them corner to corner, going down the hypotenuse, if you remember your geometry. And again, these are very forgiving. They don't have to be perfect. You just want a bit of a corner in each location, and you don't want them to be too sloppy over the edges. That's about it. Now, tricky bit, these 2 pockets are going to fold up. Use your thumbs to put some pressure inside so that you can start folding this over, leaving these little wings up. And your goal here is just to line up your center line. Again, remember this point didn't have to be perfect. And you want to leave just the tiniest edges on each side. And the reason that you do that is so that as you press these down and that little edge is left, it's about the same on all sides, and you crease this in, it will make it easy to tuck this bottom piece into the pocket that's behind it. Now to make the top part, which the top V of the heart is about to be formed up here, I like to press from the underside, and that just pushes the artwork forward, because it doesn't matter if this V is exactly, you know, if these 2 sides are equal or not. What matters is that the V at the top is what's equal. And you'll see some artwork pops over on the side. That's fine. I get artwork on the side every time I fold these, and I'm the one that did the drawing and the folding to begin with. Afterwards, we take this point, push it into the other point, and it's nice and solid now. And now we have a pocket to put a note if we don't want the person receiving it to have to open the whole thing. And then on the other side, the rest is just for look. There's this blank space up here. We want to leave, we don't want to make these come to a point because then it doesn't look like a heart. But if instead we fold until there's a nice flat section at the top, and we try to make both sides even, the heart is complete. After doing a couple dozen of these, you'll come out making them exactly the same each time. And if you're not going to make a couple of dozen, if you ordered only 2 or if you printed only 2 or 3, then just take your time. Maybe watch the video for each one. Then it'll take you 30 minutes total. If you don't want to have to fold these all yourself, you can actually order them as a set of prints that I will put in the mail for you. Otherwise, happy folding, happy note passing, and I hope you color and enjoy.